Good day, Vicky's by my side. Welcome to Mike's Diabetes World. Today I want to talk to you about people's feelings on how type 1s need to treat it. They see anything. Oh, you're doing that wrong. Oh, you have to have this. Oh, you can't have that. I can remember as a kid going out to, there was a local ice cream place, and there was a lady who found out I was a diabetic and said, oh, you can't eat that. You've got to stay on your diet. And, at this point, I don't know, I was 19. And that was the time when carbs were changing, carb counting became more and more prevalent. But it seems like everyone has their own solutions about diabetes. And 90% of them, which we get from non-diabetic or diabetic families, end up to be wrong. You have to stick with what your doctors have told you. If it ends up that your doctor tells you something else, then deal with what your doctor says. Now, example I had was years ago. I was given something out of my diabetic nurse, and this was that what was it? Uncooked cornstarch would help level off blood sugars. Couldn't be cooked, it had to be uncooked. So you would mix it in with puddings or whatever. And people thought I was absolutely crazy. Oh no, you don't do that. That's not going to help you. Well, it ended up giving me a little bit of relief. But I have an appointment coming up next week with my diabetic nurse, and we discuss many different things. But I listen to them. People are always looking for an easy way out, and most of the time other people want to give you advice, but it's more from, they want to be right. They want to be a know-it-all about everything. And I don't think, hi, how are you? It's intentional. It's just, it comes a lot of misunderstanding of what type 1 diabetes is. And we've gone over this a number of times. Type 1 diabetes is actually a different disease than type 2. Type 1, for whatever reason, our body, our white blood cells attacked the beta cells which produce insulin, and we became a diabetic. We virtually have no insulin whatsoever. And that is why a high blood sugar to type 1 can be higher than it is in a type 2. But a majority of diabetics are type 2. And it's sort of like, well, you have to do this. You have to try this. And I've talked to you about this before, where people would say, oh, well, you eat strawberries, it'll cure your diabetes. First of all, just eating one food, I don't care what type of diabetes you have, will not cure it. There are more than 50,000 of these home remedies, we'll call them. And people may have had success, but they may also have had other reasons why their blood sugars come into line. So type 1s have a lot more success. It's been proven now we don't have to follow a diabetic diet. True, we shouldn't have pies and cakes every single day, but who should? Another little story. Every night we'd have kind of like in our building complex, kind of meeting out front. And there was people there who were type 2, and he kept coming up to me and saying, oh, you can't have pop, you can't have this, you can't have fruit juice. Well, fruit juice has been contentious all along. But you have to have 0 carbs whatsoever. And I finally turned to him one day and said, how can we have 0 carbs? Your body needs some carbs. You can have a lower carb diet, but you can't have 0 carbs. There is thinking that a lower carb diet could help a diabetic. However, there's a thought that if you're a type 1 and you're carrying extra weight, oh well, you're doing something wrong. And, you know, it's hard to lose weight when you're on insulin. Insulin naturally gathers the fat. And people who are under well-controlled diabetes are carrying more weight than someone who is dealing with a high blood sugar. Gee, I wonder why. But don't let people corner you and think that they're right, because chances are they're not. They may be an expert on type 2 diabetes, which is great, but you're a type 1. And as a type 1, you're going to need to check things out with your doctor. Don't just go assuming things, because if you do, you're going to end up in deeper trouble. Think about it. And other type 1 diabetics, if you learn something new, that's awesome. Get it checked out first. I have said this on this channel from day one. If you want to try something or change something in your routine, check it out with your doctor, your diabetic nurse, or your dietitian, and they will be able to solve things. Pretty common, right? But yet, people want to know that they know everything. Don't be that kind of diabetic. You know, you could go up and say, you know, I've tried this and this. Check it out with your doctor. Just don't say, well, right now I want you to change and do it all. Because that's not going to help you. Think about it. Check things out with your doctor. Have a great day. We'll talk later. Bye now.